Welcome to Agile World Better English. Agile World was created by Sabrina Bruce and Carl Smith to focus on agility within a global community. We're just one branch of an international Agile World wonderful tree. We have Agile World English from the UK. We're Better English. We have Spanish and French and Indian, multiple Indian dialects. So you should be able to become more agile in any flavor that you desire. It's absolutely amazing. I'm Cynthia Kahn, founder of GSD Mindset. And I think over here is my co-host, Steve Mowbray. We're both passionate about Agile. Through this podcast, we share experiences about how others have applied Agile in their own business and personal lives, so you too can apply them and be successful. Steve, what's going on?
Hey, Cynthia, thank you. And welcome to Agile World, everyone. Today, we're having a fun guest, someone who I met at Agile DC a couple years ago in Bob Payne's backyard. Agile DC is this wonderful event, and it is mostly locals, but people come from around the world, actually, in many cases. And it's at Gallaudet University. There's about 1,500 people, and there are like 8 or 9 sessions going on every hour. It's just packed with people. It's such a great place to be. And in Bob Payne's backyard, he throws this big old cookout every year, and it's just wonderful. And that's where I met Erin. And Erin gave me a business card that had a samurai warrior on it. So I've always remembered her for that. So I was so thrilled to find out that her and Cynthia are in the same neck of the woods, and Cynthia reached out to Erin, and now we're grateful to have her here. Now, Erin is an ORST coach. She's a coactive coach, and she's an Agile coach, and she's here to talk about Agile in the Academy and her new gig and what she's doing, and it's really very impressive. But I'm gonna let Erin take over from here. Erin, what's going on? How are you?
Well, I feel like after that wonderful introduction that I should have this disclaimer for all the initials. They're so annoying that I actually just took them down out of the heading of my LinkedIn profile and buried them underneath because it got to be too much. It was too much of a mouthful. But yes, Bob Payne has that great warm-up party the night before Agile DC. And I miss that. So I hope that sooner rather than later that we get to go back to having that in person, because that really it's one of those wonderful homegrown Agile conferences that had such a big impact for people. So yeah. But wow, what have I been up to? A lot of study. I don't know about you guys, but did you guys find yourself reading even more during lockdown? During the pandemic?
I think many of us have read more. We've spent more time in front of a computer on blogs and so forth because we've had a little more time. I'm not commuting and living in DC. Commuting, traffic sucks in DC. So I'm saving an hour a day in my commute each way. So it could be 2 hours. Yeah. So now you were in Tanzania in January a couple years ago. What's up with that?
So January of last year, I was in Tanzania. So to be honest, it was a celebration trip because in 2015, I was diagnosed with breast cancer and came through that. Obviously things are fine and well, things look good, but it was a big marker. It was 5 years. And so my mom and I and 4 of my girlfriends, we decided that to celebrate, we were going to Tanzania. So we hiked Kilimanjaro. 3 people actually summited. 3 of us, of which I was one, wound up throwing up all around the base of Kilimanjaro because the altitude got to us.
How high is that? Because that's like one of the
That's 19. That gets up to 19.
19,000
feet.
Okay,
at 15,000 feet, I'm like, I'm out. I'm out.
Now, if you're a pilot, it's at 10,000 feet that you're required to have extra oxygen, isn't it? So you were like double
I have no idea.
Okay.
I have no idea.
Yeah, I think, but you were like way above. That's like 3 miles. That's huge.
Yeah, I guess you're right. It is right about 3 miles. I hadn't thought about it that way, but no, that was a fantastic trip though. And You ever wondering how those agile skills will come in handy in strange places? One is in putting together a group of women, most of whom did not know one another at all, but getting everyone to agree to go on a trip to Tanzania and do really well together, so much so that we would still travel together to this day, given the option. Yeah. So fun fact.
That's great. So what was the why Tanzania? What was that like? How'd you
Because
do
my
that?
mother at that point was 72 and was making noise about her bucket list. And she really wanted to go up Kilimanjaro as part of her bucket list. So as we speak, my mother is in Spain doing that big pilgrimage walk.
Okay.
Oh yeah,
I always
yeah.
forget
In
the name of
northern
it.
Spain, right? Yeah, where
Yeah,
they
it is. It's far northern Spain. And she's doing some of the actual through the Pyrenees a bit, where when people were escaping from France over into Spain, they would go some of those routes over the Pyrenees. So she's going up into some of that, and then we'll go further back down. But yeah, my mom's pretty incredible. She does a lot of hiking, a lot of walking. So pretty amazing that way.
Well, you're pretty incredible too. So, we got to give you credit for that, Miss Samurai on her business card. So what is this Agile in the academy thing? Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, that all came about because, frankly, of my own community. In basically, once I got back from Tanzania last year, I went full in on launching my own coaching practice, Ad Meliora Coaching. And part
Wait,
of that,
what is that?
Ad Meliora Coaching. So that's Latin for two better things.
Oh,
Oh,
nice.
okay,
Okay.
cool.
So it works. And also, I don't know when the last time all of you have been looking for an available domain name. Not easy. Okay, not easy. All right. So
Often.
for those of
So
you playing along at home, it's Ad Meliora. Just
Ad Meliora.
say it like
So
that and you're still good.
if I don't write Latin, how would I spell that in English?
AD, that's, two, T-O, Meliora, Meliora. So if you think about the word ameliorate,
Oh,
Latin base right there, to
Okay.
improve, to make better.
All
Okay.
right. We'll definitely
So
put that in the
that's,
show notes, but thank you.
it's not just, better English. We'll also give you Latin here on Agile World. Okay.
that's right. You will
Um,
definitely leave a little smarter than when you tuned in.
Yeah, we'll leave that for the next session. I'm not certain how much people will improve in terms of IQ in this session with me, but yeah, no.
There you go.
So anyway, February, I really put all my chips in on Ad Meliora coaching. Of course, as we know now, that was really when the pandemic started to kick off as well. One of the things that I did make certain was that I was doing, because I was also going through coactive certification at this point. So this was that deep individual one-on-one coaching work. So if I had an email address or phone number for you, I was loading you up on my Zoom line to go practice coaching. So also you knew what I did as well. As it so happened, one of my friends is a professor at a university up in Detroit. And he always just kind of kept in tabs of what was going on over there. And then earlier in 2021, he sent a new client my way. He's like, do something. I'm like, okay. And you know how sometimes fortune smiles on the brave? This was one of those instances because this individual, she's a social work professor for the University of Oklahoma, and her native name is Claudette Grinnell Davis. And she was doing some amazing work with publications and and we did some value stream mapping on that to kind of help back things out and, look at how we're concatenating and the chaining aspect of that. But then I also knew that she was writing this big grant, and it was for a Robert Wood Johnson Foundation grant. And for those of you who have ever listened to NPR, this is kind of the place where you will hear of Robert Wood Johnson because of the different things that they fund. Well, I knew that she was applying for this grant, and we'd already done some really great work on putting her on her own personal Kanban board, just to help her see, make it transparent. What have you got going on? Did that up there. And then I started looking at this grant work, and I'm like, Claudette, this would be a perfect example of where we could take Agile and apply it in a different way outside of, software development. She's like, oh, okay. But what I love about it is the transparency aspect. Okay. If you're a big funder, like Robert Wood Johnson or the National Institutes of Health, anything like that, you need some transparency. You need some visibility into what these grants are doing and the like. Why not do a review every couple of weeks and give them a cut on here's what we got done? It's just like we would do if we had a software team and the like, to make it easy for them to be involved, to see where things are going. Where's this money being spent? How's it being improved? How are we using this work to improve, what our own practices are doing? And I must say that I'm incredibly proud of this work. I mean, number one, because this is feeding the whole social side of me. Of also another fun fact, I was in the Peace Corps. So I know it's like, weird, cocktail trivia with Erin.
No, but they're all about helping and healing people.
That's what it is. And the thing is, that's what I love about agility is it's not just a way to like do more software stuff more quickly. Okay, there's the mental side, the heart side of Agile that we can bring in as well. And why does it have to reside only over in, companies, software companies that are just trying to get an app out the door? Okay, we can bring these practices, how we work with people, we can bring it over into so many different fields. These large academic grants, okay, everybody thinks, okay, landing the grant. Okay, believe it or not, that's actually the easy part. Okay, it's the execution of the grant. It's making so that you're meeting all the criteria, all the deadlines, that you're showing your work along the way. This is the actual hard part. Okay, and this is where we as Agilists can help in so many of these areas because we have this experience. We can take what we've, gotten our teeth kicked in for years doing over on this side. How can we bring it over to the other side? All right.
It's much needed, and it's people just haven't thought that way. I'm helping a client, and she runs an agency, and she said to me, like, as we're putting together organizing her goals and then putting together like a similar kind of Kanban board, and you can tell she's she's analytical, kind of like we are, like maybe in another life she was a developer, and she goes, I've never thought of things that way, because to her I said, well, it's just common sense, right? And she's like, no, it's not. To us it's common sense, right? But there's a lot of people, I guess that's the other thing, that we as Agilists are stepping out of the traditional software development. We have to realize that we think it's common sense. And I'm not saying it's not common sense, but I'm just saying not everyone has thought of it that way. So me taking it to like business, general business, small businesses, and you taking it to the academy and people who are executing
your
on
family
grants
reunion
and making sure that they have that important work actually is accomplished, is to us, well, you should know how to do that. It's common sense. And I guess maybe we should rethink what that means. It's to you know what I mean, to us who have internalized it. Do you see what I'm saying, Erin?
I do. I see it
crazy.
Perfectly, because I think this also helps us to be better Agilists, by taking this from an area where it's so entrenched, where it's so well known, and taking it elsewhere. It makes us practice what we preach, and it helps us to improve how we talk about, how we explain, how we break this down, how we model this, how we do this. And I mean, kind of one of those, you can tell it's like, oh, okay. And then all of a sudden a few things break. They're like, oh, that went better. I'm like, okay, what went better about this? What do we want to keep thinking about doing here? And it's
really beautiful that you mentioned the heart. It's really about the heart. And even Alistair Coburn has recently, launched his new initiative, the Heart of Agile. And yes, it was all based with software developers from the beginning, because that was the big problem facing. Things were changing way too fast. And it was difficult to keep up. But we have learned through, the last 20 years that the principles can be applied everywhere. What do? You make your work visible. You focus on flow. You focus on what's most important, right? So you prioritize your work. You can see it. You get the most important stuff done. Easy.
I was working with this small company over the summer, and I knew that I was having great success when one of them came in to me the next day, and he's like, I went home and I looked around and I asked myself, what's the most valuable thing that I could do? And I'm like, mic drop. I got nothing else. Got nothing else. I'm good to go. Yeah. And I mean, but that principle, by always looking, what's the most valuable thing that I can do? You're like, oh, okay. And asking, I mean, because these big grants, okay, they're not just one research team. They're often community partners. Okay. So, and these are, the nonprofits that are actually working out in the areas and the like. There might be different federal components. Okay. There's different ways that this tie in, and showing people that this is a different way to work, to communicate, to make certain that things are getting done. And you can see the transparency, what's coming up, how's that ready to go? What do we need to be getting ready over there? That coaching aspect in ways that you perhaps never thought about doing it. And I think it makes it more vibrant. But also I really do love helping people get stuff done. I mean, it's like, it's right there. Come on, guys. Yeah.
There you go. That is so beautiful. And it sounds like you spent your whole life healing and helping people, from the time in the Peace Corps till your through your ORS.
I think that's perhaps the most idealized version of myself I've ever heard. I'm really not that like, no.
No, you're kind of doing it. So,
Well,
you may not be taking credit
for that
for
lovely
it.
view of myself, and I'll struggle with accepting that all day.
Just
There you
make
go.
sure your mom listens to this podcast so that she can hear how absolutely amazing.
Well, right now
her
she's
daughter
literally going through Spain, and I don't know what her roaming is looking like, but I'll tell mom to warn her that that's coming up.
That's
Yeah.
okay. Well, this will be recorded. So, all right. So you're helping people.
But you did press record, didn't you?
Yeah. I deserve that one because I did kind of forget. So yeah, I have. And I'm well known at the meetups I host to start the recording late. So
I've
yeah.
actually got everyone over on mine. I have them like, there's a 3 bit, like, Erin, did you press record?
Yeah.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. And more people are reminding me. So thank you for that reminder, Erin.
No problem. Glad to help.
Oh, can we redo that and start out? Yeah. Can we start over?
I will admit that when I started the recording, though, I had it on speaker view and not gallery view. So we may want to do our photos again.
Okay.
Don't worry. It's fine.
Steve.
You know what?
It's just something to
process.
work on for next time. What could we do better?
Absolutely. So how can someone get started with this, or how many organizations have you worked with going through this?
It's honestly just at the inception point.
Okay, cool.
Okay. I know that more universities are interested, just because I've had them start reaching out to, they're like, we hear something's going on over there and we need to know what this is. What I really would love to see is that these massive grants, these large ones, like through the National Institutes of Health, through Robert Wood Johnson or the Casey Foundation or MacArthur, whatever they want to be doing on those, that realizing that landing the grant is just part of it, but how can we help support some of these grantees with the execution side of it, and saying, we've got a few coaches here on hand that can help you get this set up and be going there. Okay. This is, I think it's a way for people to combine both heart and brain, passion for it, but the execution of it as well. So this is, I think, like anything, there's always going to be a lot of trial and error. What are we learning? Showing that we're not only preaching these different practices, that we're living them as well. All right.
I like that, combining the heart and brain.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
I don't know about you all, but I would really love to be coaching, what would it be like if universities did some of this coaching work as well? Realizing, instead of we have these disparate actions going on, it's like, okay, what are the OKRs for this department? Okay, for this particular college, how are we going to move that forward and the like?
OKRs? What are OKRs?
That's a trick question.
Yeah, okay.
We just had a big
you
hot
did?
topic on that, the Agile World, the UK one. Yeah,
Okay.
that was
Did I
interesting.
step on a landmine and I didn't realize
No,
it?
no, 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 no.
No. I think he's just
Okay,
He's just
OKR
teasing.
stands for organizational key results. Just
Yeah.
objectives and key results.
Okay.
The one thing that I will tell you is that because I went to support the hot topic, and most people don't, like, not even 50% were using that. And then
Well,
they weren't 100% sure. Yeah.
Well, one of the focuses is we want to make sure we're providing the most value, right? So
Mhm.
someone said, what's the most valuable thing I could do? Well,
Mhm.
what are the key results that we're looking for?
Mhm.
Right.
So if you don't know what you're trying to get, you can't possibly provide the most value, right? So the
That's
organizational
why I love working with metaphor on things like that. Think about it and you get it, then it's kind of a navigational North Star. I've always found that to be really helpful.
Yeah, so when you were thinking about organizing, a group of women who didn't know each other to go to Tanzania, right? So there was the Tanzania trip, and there were some things that you wanted to do. Those were your key results getting there, right? All of the stuff to get there and to have fun, those were the
and to make
steps
it up
that
a
you did.
mountain,
Yeah.
the sheer amount of gear, because we went for 2 weeks. Well, no, I'm not kidding, because you had to have cold weather gear. All right, up to, it was dropping well below 0 at night.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so it was really cold. And then plus surviving in the jungle, because we were out on the Serengeti Plain for another week. So really hot and really cold. Pack for that trip lightly.
In a carry-on, in like your, it'll fit in the over.
The amount of luggage
right?
that went on that trip. We have photos somewhere of us trying to pack these vans. It was comical. We had to crawl in over luggage. We were stuffed in there like sardines, just in the back. Yeah.
Oh, I'm sure it requires a lot of equipment to climb that high. So if a college or institution wanted to get involved with this, what would they do? What would you tell them? What would be the sales pitch?
Well, first, I would want to be curious what is it that you are trying to do and why? Okay, what's at the heart of this? Okay, help me understand, number one, what roadblocks you've run into. What are you trying to accomplish? What's important about this work? By the way, if you all hadn't guessed, my real love is questions. I do love questions, improving questions, and getting better at them. So Steve, that whole stacking questions thing, I would know nothing about that. I do it all the time. So if they wanted to start, what's the pitch on this? Honestly, don't think of it as pitching. Okay, this is simply a conversation because I want to understand what hurts. Okay, and what needs to be made better, and what are you trying to accomplish, and how can this serve? Because I don't think of Agile as this big band-aid that you put on everything. It's just going to make everything better underneath and the like. No, that's not how that's going to work, or at least not with me. But I want to understand how I can serve, how I can help, what kind of coaching, what are the organizational needs, where do you have trauma in the system, or where do you have strife even sometimes as well? Where are you falling down? All right.
Well,
But think about this from, what is the purpose of this, grant? Okay. What is this research trying to accomplish? And then starting to peel that apart. It's not a pitch. I think I would probably, that's the parlance that would be used by a sales organization. But I guess I've just never thought of myself as a sales organization.
Okay. I was just thinking about what is the elevator pitch if we're having a conversation with friends and so forth. And one of my things about a good elevator pitch for business goals and things like that, if you can say it at the Thanksgiving dinner table with the family around and friends without people knowing your industry, then it's a pretty good pitch. That's the way I
coach research teams to help them execute on large funding grants.
There you go. So they can get more value out of them, right? So
yeah. Well, not much more value. They can actually execute and get done what they set out to do, what they laid out in that grant.
That's
that they can not only achieve what they laid out, but then also begin to earmark where it needs to go next. Okay, so it's not just going through the door, it's finding the doors and the pathways on the other side.
It's what do you do once you have to walk through it, and how do you,
Yeah. And that, by the way, my parents will probably love having that description because I cannot tell you how often I get at family meals, dinner tables, gatherings, and like, what is it you do? We don't understand what you do. And they're like, you talk to people. Yeah. My dad, this is a true story. My father has been known to tell people that I work for the Nicaraguan rebels. And I'm like, what? He's like, well, I don't know what you do, so I make stuff up. And I'm like, Dad, perhaps not tell people, I'm down with the Contras or something like that. I'm just saying, Dad, perhaps let's find a more accurate lie. Yeah, but no.
I love that though.
I'll introduce you to my dad one day. He's great. He'll love that. He's been making up stories his entire life. Yeah.
Oh, good. Oh, he would be so much fun to have a beverage with.
Well, he was still is. He's a veterinarian in very rural Montana. And so my dad has some of the best stories just about working cattle you've ever heard.
Like, some that you shouldn't be like telling at the dinner table, maybe. I don't know.
Well, that's actually, if you have anybody in your family goes to medical school, and on that side, pretty much everybody goes to medical school. You grow up, it's like having people discuss surgery around the dinner table. You think it's perfectly fine, but then you have someone over and realize that, oh, you're a little green. You guys tone it down a bit. Do you want to hear? I'll tell you the story anyway. My husband, we were dating, and this is just before I leave for Mongolia. I've just finished university. We hadn't even officially started dating yet.
Mongolia? Mongolia.
Yeah, this is Mongolia. Well,
Tanzania, Mongolia, you're just all over the place.
Joel comes back to Montana with me, and Dad's like, hey, can you go to the airport? Now I know that because it is, the May-June timeframe, I know exactly what it is that I'm picking up at the airport. And Joel's like, what are we picking up? And I'm like, nothing. Well, we're clearly here to get something. Nothing. Just let it go. Just don't ask. Don't say anything. It's equine breeding season.
Okay, I think I know.
I was going to the airport to pick up a specimen. Yeah. So how do you tell your, husband who, well, he wasn't even my boyfriend at that point yet, but we're here to pick up semen. Good luck editing that out of the show notes.
And he stayed with you. So yeah.
Well, yeah, we've actually been married 21 years now.
Oh, congratulations. Oh, nice. That's awesome.
He's a saint. Or insane. We don't know which.
I think you need a little of both to become a saint.
Yeah, probably true.
And one of your first dates, you went to go to the airport to pick up bull semen.
Horse,
honey. There's a difference, right?
Yeah, top that.
Sorry.
Top that how I met you, story. Yeah.
Love that. That is brilliant. That is brilliant.
We were all asking, at some point. Well, actually, I'll let you ask your question. Go ahead,
please. Please, after you.
Well, because I was thinking I might have been skipping ahead. How did you think about applying Agile outside of, software and the like? What was kind of, ta-da, what came forward? And it was honestly through a lot of the work with that veterinary clinic, because my dad had had a stroke in 2013, and I was going back and forth. I worked for IBM at this point down here in Austin, but I was going back and forth between Austin and very rural Montana, trying to keep this vet practice, going as well. And that was one of my very first experiments in applying Agile outside of software and in a rural veterinary clinic. And this was a way for us to keep track of all of that work that goes into not only keeping a practice going, but expanding it and trying to move into 2 different areas. It was stripped down Kanban boards, because I was over there trying to do the marketing and thinking about how do we improve, our intake system, and what do we need to do? What does SWOT analysis look like on this? That was actually one of my very first experiments in Agile outside of software. And it gave me, I think, the confidence and the wherewithal to be thinking about where else could this go.
Mm-hmm.
That is
veterinary.
awesome.
Who knew?
That is awesome. So if people want to get started with this, what's a bit of advice you might share?
Practice,
Practice?
practice. Go deep into it, not just, the dilettante side of it. If this is work that you want to do, then really honestly fall in love with it. And that means go talk to people, go read up on it, try something new, be transparent with your team that this is, I want to try something. Would you be willing to experiment with me? Get some coaching, practice coaching, try coaching, fall down, get back up, keep going.
What's the difference between coaching and consulting?
Like you've asked that question before, Steve.
Only a couple hundred times.
Coaching, yeah. Coaching, I'm just going to ask questions and help you discover what is already there. Consulting, I'm going to say, hey, I've got this. Here's this lovely program I'm going to put you through and the like, and to drop that in. And there are times, yes, that I will have to move back and forth a bit between both. But for the most part, I try to stay out of consulting.
Okay.
I'm good at this question side of it. I'm going to help you with all of these practices, and I'm going to be here to like stopgap. But I'm not here to tell you what to do or the best way to do it. All right. This is one reason I love so many of those academic projects, is because they have that experience. It's just giving them a different framework within which to move. Now, your principal investigator on one of these research grants, they're a perfect product owner, okay, because they have the vision, they see where this can go, they see what's happening there. All right. But you also can always find someone down there who's really, they don't know it yet, but they're going to be a great Scrum Master. And they just need some support there for it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
many organizations have that hidden servant leader in there, or that person that has that good vision and is really good at prioritizing what needs to come next. So you've got your product people, you've got your Scrum Master who, can help remove the impediment. So that's really beautiful.
Honestly, I love that question, though. What's the best way to start? Best way is just to start. Okay. I don't know about you all, but I used to be a tech writer. All right. And it was because the guy that was going to be the Scrum Master left. And I was like, does anybody mind if I give that a try? God, no, please go give that a whirl. And that I was like, oh, but I hadn't counted on falling in love with it. But I mean, I guess the writing was on the wall because I really have always loved checklists, crossing things off, moving things to done. Like, I don't know about you, but my checklists weren't just checklists. I really love Rhodia pads, those orange cover things with all the extra grid lines. Oh, I love those. Yeah. The best way to start is to just start.
Okay. And focus on what is most valuable first. Figure out how to do that.
Isn't that the best question? What's the most valuable thing that I can do? Okay.
I think that's a
What's
brilliant
the most
question.
needed? And honestly, if we all looked at started every day just like that, or walked in the door or turned on our computer, what's the most valuable thing that I can do? Boom, go and get that done. Okay. And then go tackle the next thing. Yeah.
There you go. That's awesome. That is so awesome. We're almost at time. Cynthia, Erin, any final?
I'm laughing because I didn't even realize we were almost at time either. I looked up, I was like, oh, we've been talking a lot longer than I thought.
Yeah, because you're so amazing. You've got so much to share. Now,
Or
one of the
so
things
verbose.
I will point out is in our show notes, we're going to have links to everything that Erin said. And Erin, if people want to reach out to you on, say, LinkedIn, or what's the best way for someone to contact you right away?
That's actually through my website, admiluracoaching.com. And I'll provide the proper spelling for that and everything over in the show notes and the like. I keep what is called a connect session on my calendar. So if anyone is ever just curious and wants to know more, just book a connect session with me. Happy to talk. That's why I keep those there. It's 30 minutes just so we can, talk, find out more about what's going on and the like, how I can help, what's the most valuable work. So that's the easiest way. You can always find me on LinkedIn. But the other way, I don't know if you all know this, but we do have those Agile coaching circles. And those are, frankly, we have different ones around the world at this point. And we specifically set those up so that they were in time zones convenient for those people. there. But just because you live in Europe doesn't mean that you couldn't attend the session in Africa or either coast of Australia or US, and vice versa. Really, whatever session works for you, we would welcome you at any of those sessions there. But yeah,
And
those are the two easiest ways to find me.
And what Erin is talking about is there are meetups. If you go to meetup.com, you can find Agile coaching circles, and they are in 4 different time zones, I think. One is
5.
Australia. One's
We have both coasts of Australia, both
Okay.
coasts.
Oh,
All right.
okay.
Yeah, well, because that disparity there is so large, and
Mhm.
one kind of starts to pick up into Malaysia, and the other one's more New Zealand and pushing the other way.
Okay.
So we have both coasts of Australia, Africa, Europe, and North America.
And for whatever reason, the African time zone works best for me. And whenever I get on there, about half the people are from the East Coast, are from
Oh, really?
right here. Yeah, I've met people from Massachusetts, New York. So that's just the time frame that works well for me. Because Erin, I think as you know, everybody need, but you can find a time zone, and it doesn't matter what continent you're in, you're welcome. So
Right.
check that.
Those are there
those out.
simply because we want to give people a safe place to practice. Okay. It's a place to practice. That's all it is. And those are always going to be free. They're always going to be free. And we have those staffed by people with an expert level rating in Agile coaching. And probably many of us have even more beyond that. But yeah.
And it's not
This
just
is a great
Agile
place.
coaching. It is coaching, and it is just a great place to go meet wonderful people. And that's just, so I highly recommend them.
Thank you. But I wanted one tiny more thing.
Please.
I will be launching round 2 of Magnesium starting later this year. I've just sent the final proofs for printing and the like. And Magnesium is my personal, that was my brainchild from last year when we were all in lockdown. But it also ties in so well with agility because it's about reflecting and releasing what is no longer serving you from this year. You're rejoicing and getting ready for the year that is to come. And the third part is rolling it out. And that's where, believe it or not, y'all go in your own Kanban board. So yes, I've been teaching the masses about Kanban boards.
Oh,
yeah.
So tell me, just give me a quick overview of Magnesium. Give me a little more. I want more.
Really, it's group coaching to find out what's valuable to you, start getting it done. So I ask you what's your metaphor for the year? What are the 3 big goals that you want to accomplish in this upcoming year? And then what are the 5 ways in which you want to live? All right. We do this all. I'm going to run it this year between January 15th and very early February, because I want to have people to get through the trauma of the holidays and the like, and then really get clear on what's coming up in 2020.
So is this like an hour event, a multi-day event? What is this?
So it is between an hour and 2 hours each session. But I'll run it there'll be January 15th, January 27th, and then the first Tuesday in February. And
So
we
it's like
just
3
bring
or 4
everyone
sessions,
in
or
on Zoom. I'm sorry?
is it like 3 or 4 sessions, or?
It's 3 sessions for Magnesium itself, but then the accountability portion, we do check-ins every quarter. And I match you up with an accountability partner because it's all about accountability. I know, I'm real serious. It's like Cynthia's over there going, oh no, there's going to be goals and we're going to accomplish the goals. There they come, there they come, there they come.
Oh
yeah.
no, we have an accountability.
Well, no, it's all of a sudden I get people calling going, I'm getting a lot more. I'm like, I know.
That's awesome.
I know. Yeah.
That's
I know.
beautiful.
So all big things.
Well, Erin, thank you so much for being
Thank
such
you.
an amazing healer and joining us.
Yes,
and
thank you.
absolutely love everything that you've done. So people, please reach out. Cynthia, any final comments or thoughts?
Just thank you. I'm glad that we reconnected after we hadn't spoken in a while. And I'm like, and we started the podcast and I said, Steve, do you know Erin? And he was like, I do. And I said, yeah, I'm going to reach out to her because I just want to, I talked to her because we just hadn't spoken. And I'm like, I want to have you talk about your foundation work, and it felt so good, like so heartwarming to me. So I'm glad that
I'm so
you were able to join us today.
Yeah, that foundation work, I know in my soul that is going to be one of those things that I look back on and be like, this is how I changed the world. This is how.
And I want to connect you with a organization called Gapbuster. because I helped redo their website, and they do a lot of grants for student loans, and help get a lot of people into classes in college. So it's pretty.
That's wonderful. Thank you. I'd
Yeah.
appreciate that. Yeah.
So are we ready to tell people where to find Agile World before we go?
Is that what this is? Is this Agile World? I thought this.
Yeah,
I thought this was Erin being awesome. Erin healing the world.
Yeah, Cynthia's like,
yeah, we sit in the middle of it. Now I'm stuck on my divider thing.
Cynthia's for those of you who are listening, Cynthia's all over the place right now. All over the screen.
I just moved so that you can see my background. And then I got stuck on what is the thing that you put under your desk so your chair will sit on it and not ruin the hardwood floor? The thingy. Yeah, I got stuck on my
she got stuck on the thingy.
Yeah, it was really a bummer. But anyway, we, Agile World, are on all social media sites. So if you want to communicate with us on sort of a casual social level, you can find us on LinkedIn. Let's say that again. LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and if you still are a member of Tumblr. The video version of this podcast not only will be on our YouTube channel, but it's also on our website, agile-world.news. The podcasts are on Spotify, Apple, Google, Pocket Casts, Anchor Breaker, and Public Radio. So wherever you listen when you walk your dog or walk with your family or friends, you can listen. And if you have any ideas or want to be a guest or want to just talk to either Steve or myself directly, you can find us on LinkedIn, or I'm at Cynthia at agile-world.news, and Steve is at Steve at agile-world.news.
And so far, when people reach out, we have not bitten anybody's head off. We love it. We love it when people reach out, and I'm sure, Erin, you're going to love it if people reach out to you too, right?
I do.
Everybody
but I had this horrible image of
Steve
as like this big praying mantis, and I'm like,
Yeah, do we need to have a disclaimer? Nobody has been beheaded.
Nobody died
in the making of this podcast.
Even though Erin used to have a business card of a samurai warrior.
Yeah.
I know. That was a big favorite. I still have some of those someplace. Yeah, I know.
Absolutely loved it. Anyway, everyone, thank you so much. This was wonderful. Erin, you are truly an amazing healer. I'm honored that you joined us here. And everybody have a great day.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, y'all. Have a good day, everyone.
Bye-bye.